Hello, happy folks. I hope you are having just a magnificent day today. Today we're taking like the 30-page short story. It's the next one in the Tsathoggua Cycle, which I'll link to you in the comments below. It's 30 pages long. I knocked it out in 2 days. It's about an hour and a half long, roughly. About three pages a day, a minute, and then it's called The Old One. It's written by John Glasby, and it was published in 1989 for you folks. It's a few decades old. It's in this collection by Chaosium for you folks that I'll link you to in the comments below. As a reminder, the Tsathoggua Cycle brings together a bunch of things that were inspired by the character that was created by Clark Ashton Smith, Tsathoggua, and the tale of Tsathoggua that Lovecraft read and said, "Well, I want to incorporate that into my mythos in the culprit." And so he added it to a novella that he was writing called The Mound, by which he was ghostwriting for C.L. Bishop. Unfortunately, that wasn't published until like in abridged form in about 10 years later. Not in its full form until 89 decades later for you folks. So all that influence didn't happen. So the first person to write this actually wasn't Clark Ashton Smith's Tales of Tamper-Zyros, which was also published a couple of years later with a delay, but Robert E. Howard was the first one. And then The Whispers in Darkness by Lovecraft was the second one in 31. So it was a few years later for you folks. But this idea of incorporating various characters was definitely a part. Everybody has sort of a different sort of a concept of whether it's Clark Ashton Smith or Lovecraft, of the physical characteristics of it. So basically, what's happening in the old ones, no major spoilers, I just tell you to read the first few pages to get you caught up. But basically, we're having two main characters in this. Our point of view character is a junior archaeologist at a university. He believes that there are people that lived on our humanoids that lived on our Earth prior to humans that died out prior to us. And so, and his senior officer does not believe it. Says he should don't tell him about it. Keep it secrets if you actually want to believe that crazy stuff, right? And so our primary character, he does some research and finds a book at a bookstore. It talks about an ancient book this is a quote from, that talks about the ancient gods in the ancient city of Yath, for you folks. And so he reads it because it's written in Latin. He can speak Latin and interpret it too, because he's an academic in archaeology. So he interprets it and so forth. So we have a couple pages of that, and then he goes back to the bookstore. He tells him that the guy who sold it to him was a young uncle of a nephew of a guy who died a few years ago, and this books were sold to the bookstore as a bequest, if you will. And so now he's going to go track him down. He finds out who the guy is. The guy lets him have his dad's letters since he's an academic, and he'll find out that this book is the last copy that they have of an ancient book. And so if it's lost, nothing will happen. That tells the city of Youth, and he was in a place in Bermuda, which has a road that was similar to Youth, and he thinks that's where it is, and such, in the Bahamas. And then a couple of days later, we'll find out that there's a trip from the university heading out from his archaeology department and to 3 different places that are being proposed. One of those is in the exact same site in the Bahamas that they went to. So he convinces his boss, the other character, the woman, to head there. They will, and that's like 5 or 6 pages into 30-page short story. So I'm going to leave it to you there. So basically, I liked it. I thought it was good. The ending's fine. Definitely thought it was okay. My main issue with this is that this feels like a Cthulhu Mythos story, which is fine. It's in the Cthulhu Mythos. But he's using words like cyclopean and non-Euclidean geometry to describe the cities that they find, right? This sorts of things. It doesn't feel like it's doing anything new, right? The descriptions of these characters and so forth and the Tsathoggua are straight out of the first generation, rather than when this is written in the fourth generation, right? And so forth. It feels like it's trying too hard, if you will, to be a Cthulhu Mythos short story, rather than just letting it be its own short story at 30 pages long, right? Which took like an hour and a half in 2 days for me to read. So I don't, right? So as a result, it feels more like a Generation 2 or Generation 3 story. It tells all the backstory, doesn't disagree with any of the original things, and doesn't add anything new, right? in the August Derleth or Lynn Carter eras. So I don't like it that much for that reason. So I'm probably giving this like a 6. Sorry, John Glasby, but I just don't feel, I'm not feeling this as much as I was hoping you probably were hoping for those reasons. You're not adding anything, you're just copying and pasting some words and using the basic concepts of the same thing, and then you're not adding anything new to it, but you're also pulling out the covers and giving us way too much exposition on the mythos, right? So there you are. So that is my thoughts on it. So it's giving it a 6 out of 10 for you folks. There you are. Have you seen it? If you read it, what'd you think about it? If you agree or disagree with my 6 out of 10, please let me know in the comments below, if you will. Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it so much. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. If you're feeling the bell icon, if you're feeling frisky, hit the subscribe button too. Let your friends know. So Cthulhu Mythos fans, John Glasby fans, Clark Ashton Smith, Clark D. Howard fans, Lovecraft fans, all those folks. Right? Let them all know. And then, as a reminder, this channel's name is The Worst Thing About New Books. That's a quote by a French philosopher, Jacques Joubert, who said that the worst thing about them was keeping us from reading the old ones, right? And this is definitely not a word from decades ago, in the 80s. So there you are. I'll go ahead and leave you to it. I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video, because we all have so many things, right, that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spend this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so much. So have a great day, and thanks again.